Hey guys, so in this episode of What's in the Box, we're going to be looking at the 1/35th scale Dragon Jagdtiger Porsche variant with Zimmerit. This kit is from 2011 and it's a nice kit, but there's some things I wanted to show you when we get into the review. And here we have it. So we have the old Ron Volstead artwork in the front. It's not bad, but it's not crazy about the colors. I think they've had better box art. You may disagree, but you can certainly share that. We have some color drawings of some painting and marking options on the kit. You'll notice the 2011 date here on the side of the box. Some renderings on the side of the box. And a look at the back. Now I want to point out that this is another one of those Dragon letdowns. I recently purchased this example from Sprues Brothers in Missouri. Of course they have excellent service, I'm not knocking them. This has been a re-release for 2015. The older version used to come with the metal barrel. It does however come with some photo etch grills. And it has easy track instead of magic track, and I'm going to get to that actually because there's some things I want to share with you about that. Now before I get into the review, I just want to spend just a moment discussing the lineage, and I am nowhere near the Dragon kit expert that our favorite Adam Mann. Adam is the guru on Dragon kit reviews, and I'm going to leave a card in the upper right hand corner of the screen for you to go out and check out Adam's channel and see his awesome reviews. So basically Dragon introduced a Henschel variant of the Jagdtiger in 1995. Then subsequently in 95 they introduced a Porsche variant. Then in 96 they offered an updated version of the Henschel with some new parts. And then in 05 an all-new release with magic tracks and the Henschel variant. That kit is still readily available, even though it's out of production. It's all over eBay, and they added some more parts still. Now, granted, this whole time we haven't seen a completely new tooling yet. Then in 2009, they came out with a premium version of the Porsche Jagdtiger with all the goodies in the metal barrel. That is since long gone and is now unobtainium. And then this version is the last incarnation of a Jagdtiger from Dragon, and this was released originally in 2007, and that's with the Zimmerit. So this is actually based on the 1995 version of the Porsche Jagdtiger kit, just with some updated parts, and you can certainly tell the difference in the older parts versus the new. Now the Porsche version was only built in tiny numbers. It has twin bogies for the running gear, and it had a unique, more narrow running gear. The tracks were different on this one than on the Henschel variant. And this was the only Jagdtiger to have Zimmerit. And I think the surviving examples, these were actually at a training school and they were captured at the end of the war. But enough of that. We're going to take a look at the plastic. Let me prepare the bags and the sprues for you to look at, and I'll be right back. So before we take a look at the plastic, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the instruction sheet, just to kind of give you an idea of what you're going to be facing during the build. Notice in the sprue map, you don't see a lot of the blued out parts. There is a simple photo etch fret, not much on it at all. There is some metallic cable included for photo etch. There's just not a lot of parts that are going to be left out in the build. This kit, on face value, is going to be a very simple build, except for the tracks, and I'm going to get to that. So, of course, you've got a black and white version of the box art here on the top. This is the traditional fold-out Dragon style booklet. All of the color callouts are done in Mr. Hobby and Mr. Color and Mr. Hobby Color. They're aqueous. They're alcohol-based acrylic paint. All those color callouts. That's typically what they use. There's no surprise there. And as with most armor builds, Dragon included, you'll notice at the beginning of step 1 you begin construction of the drive sprocket, suspension arms, shocks set are there on the lower hull. Step 3 includes assembly of the road wheels. No, these are all steel road wheels on the Jagdtiger. There would have been no rubber tires here. Step 5 brings us into the back hull with the exhaust pipes. And I don't see any optional parts here. You'll notice that the diagrams are a little larger than usual. Oh, going the wrong way there. Here we have attaching the shrouds for the exhaust, parts on the top or upper hull all the way through step 10, adding the engine access panel, assembly of the spare tracks. Now, if you can, I want to point out this little track section here. You'll notice there's actually 5 pieces for track links. So 5, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces for track links. I want you to keep that in mind. So we move on into step number 11. And here we have some photo etch clamps you can use if you want. I don't know. We'll take a look at the tool clamps here in just a moment. On vehicle equipment gets attached. More step 13 here. We get some spare tracks being added on. Step 14 we have more tools. 16 and 17 we go into the gun assembly. There is a rudimentary breech, even though the interior will not be visible. Here we go on 18, attaching the upper hull to the lower hull. Step 19 is a 2-piece barrel. Now I have a replacement metal barrel for this kit from Voyager models, but this would not be hard to do to remove the seam since there's not a bunch of detail on it, so I think it would be pretty easy. It's basically just a tube, you just have to remove the seam. So 20 attaches the barrel. Then you go on into that's the final assembly. And yeah. So this is I'm going to backtrack a little bit. This is what I was talking about with the tracks. I'm going to zoom in just a bit. You look right here. This is your track guide for assembly, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces per track length. Yes, that's correct. Now, these tracks, and we're going to take a look at them here shortly, guys. See, this is one of the issues I have with the kit. That's a lot of damn pieces for track lengths, and I take a little bit of an issue with that. That's insane. And of course, it doesn't say how many track links to assemble for the track run. That would have been nice to have known. So this ends with number 20. And then, of course, there's the 2 painting and marking options here at the end. One of these is Panzerjäger Abteilung 653, Germany, 1944. The other one is Panzerjäger Abteilung 653, Germany, 1944. One in a monochromatic Dunkelgelb scheme, and then one in a late war tritonal scheme. So that's a brief look at the instructions. Now, before we just go crazy with the plastic, the first thing we are is going to take a look at is the track links. Let me cut these open for you, and I'll be right back. Alright, so here we have one of the sprues that consists of the track links, and this says 135th Jagdtiger P. This is probably from the 2009 kit. So this is Easy Track, not Magic Track. And you'll notice these little connector links, those little tiny pieces. There's 3 of these per link. There's this piece and then the big track link. Now, first disappointment is the big section of the link has a rather large set of ejector pin marks. I hope you guys can make these out. There's one here and one here on each side of the link. Those have to be filled and removed. The detail actually is quite good. I really don't have any complaints there. You can see the detail on the inside of these links. But guys, here's my issue. This is my main problem with this kit. I think overall the moldings are crisp, even though there are some old sprues in there. I can get over that. That's not a problem. This kit is not crazy expensive, and I think it's because a lot of people know the issue with the tracks. So here's the problem. The Jagdtiger Porsche variant actually was equipped with the narrow transport tracks. And what's different is, I don't know if you can notice this, there's only one guide horn on these tracks, which is correct. The crews in the field had to remove one guide horn from the track because the second guide horn would have damaged the suspension because of the uniqueness in the double bogey Porsche design compared to the Henschel variant. And these tracks in my hand are indeed correct for the model. It's just there's 5 pieces per link, and there's probably 90 to 100 links total per side. That's insane. That's a huge negative. And, you know, of course they say, oh, take your time in assembly. Now, how in the world are you going to assemble these tracks with 5 pieces per link and get them on the vehicle before the glue sets? I don't know how it can be done. Maybe somebody out there can put down in the comments how they have some thoughts about that. But that's the Achilles heel of this kit, in my opinion. I mean, the tracks, they look nice. What about aftermarket options, you're thinking? Well, there are some. Frio Model, Frio Modissimo, whatever you want to call them, the Hungarian aftermarket track manufacturer makes the really nice white metal tracks. They do make 2 Jagdtiger track sets. They make one for the Henschel, and that's of course not correct for this one. And they do make, I think it's ATL 22 is the number. They do make the correct transport tracks for the Jagdtiger, but it's got 2 guide horns. So you're going to have to take a pair of wire cutters and snip off 1 guide horn off each link for the Friul tracks. In addition to that, the Friul tracks also they're 3 or 4 pieces per link, just like these are. And so I've read online where guys have complained about, yeah, these work, but getting the little track pin to line up in 3 or 4 separate pieces is pretty challenging. So I'm not sure that the aftermarket option is any better. But there's the tracks. Take it or leave it. I wanted to start with the negative of this kit. Maybe you can deal with it or not. I'm still going to build this kit just because it pisses me off so much. I still want to build it because this subject is really unique. I really think it is. So I wanted to get that out of the way because the rest of the kit I really think is really a nice kit. So let's go ahead and take a look at some more of the sprues. Alright, now in this first bag there were 3 different sprue assemblies, and this appears to be the bottom of the fighting compartment and parts of the gun and breech assembly. And of course there's actually a pretty nice MD42, but judging by the crispness of detail, this is not their latest. So this came off one of the older kits, which is fine. But this is not going to be seen anyway. So there is some really nice anti-skid texture on this plate here, which is pretty cool. Now, there were 2 additional sprues in this bag, which consist of the suspension parts and the very unique, weird spring arm suspension system that consisted of the Porsche. Now, they're crisp. It's just they're a little clunky compared to current day Dragon moldings, but not bad. So there's 2 identical of these. I'm not going to show them both to you. Just let you take a look. Detail's not bad at all. Alright, so in this next bag we actually had 3 sprues and the upper hull. And this is the not the necessarily the, but the tool sprue or a tool sprue. And you'll notice there's no clamp, so this could be used with the photo etch that's hopefully included in the kit. And there's some of the tow cable ends here. And the detail on these is really crisp. There's just no clamps. Tiny little bit of flash there on the sprue gate, but other than that, they're very crisp. Molding's very nice. And then there's 2 identical sprues here, which has grab handles, drive sprockets, and idlers. And it looks like a differential housing. These are, I believe, some of the newer sprues because they are packaged with the new Zimmerit hull, which I'll show you here in just a moment. Some tiny, tiny little vehicle hooks, those used to lower and raise the hull. The toe shackles, which go on the front, actually look really nice. They used to offer them in metal, but these don't look bad at all. The exhaust even has a to-scale hole with the split section on the inside, which is correct. Of course, these come from a regular Jagdtiger kit. There is a little bit of flash on some of the sprue parts, though, not on the parts themselves. So 2 identical sprues with that. Now, this is a sight to behold. Here's the new hull. This was one of the new parts in 2011 with Zimmerit. And you'll notice the Zimmerit does not go all the way up on the hull. I don't think that would be necessary because that thing's got to be 10 or 12 feet off the ground. There's no way a soldier could reach that. So Zimmerit texture is nice. There's even some damaged Zimmerit sections. I think that would take a wash beautifully. Overall, I have to say the Dragon's done a fantastic job. You'll notice the detail here on the front glasses plate as well. Engine decking's really good. So this is one of the new parts from 2011, and I think you can certainly tell that. All right, let's take a look at some more of the plastic. And here we have our hull tub on the bottom, our bottom hull. Detail on the bottom is not bad at all, but you can tell by the lack of crispness. It's not. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but it's not quite as crisp as their newer tooled stuff. And Adam, of course, Adam's pointed that out in some of his kit reviews. So you can tell this is definitely one of the older parts. But I think you're not going to really see the bottom of the vehicle that much, anyways. But that being said, it really looks pretty good. I certainly don't see any issues with it. There's a weird sink mark here that will have to be sanded off, and you can actually feel it. It's on top of the plastic. That's not a big deal either. But so there's the bottom hull tub. So we have 2 sprues in this bag. What we have here are exhaust parts. There are some tools here with clamps. The clamps don't look great, so this is probably older tooling on this sprue. The jack is not bad. There's half of the jack. There's the exhaust, big armored exhaust shrouds, and back hull plate with not a lot of detail on it. There's an engine access hatch here. But this is a newer sprue. I'll tell you what, though, the woodblock here looks really nice for the jack. There's some really nice looking wood detail in that. Hope you can see it in the camera. There's another big sprue. Here we have side skirts. Now this is gonna be one of the new sprues. I can recognize that right away because it has Zimmerit detail on it. There's Zimmerit on the fenders, Zimmerit on the side skirts. There's even Zimmerit here on the back panel. It's really nicely done. I think you guys can see that. Hopefully you can see that. Zimmerit on that back panel. There's the superstructure front with some really nice looking casting detail. Looks great. This has got to be one of the new sprues, I believe. So, all right. So here we have the last sprue of plastic, and I have a different front plate. Probably one of these is a Henschel, and one of these is Jagdtiger. I'm not sure because I didn't study the instructions that closely. There's the 2-piece metal barrel. I have a replacement aluminum barrel. Yes, I said aluminum. As a nod to my buddies across the pond there. If I want to replace it. But like I said, this barrel would not be hard to do. It would be easy to get the seam off of this. Cleaning rod. There's some really good looking casting texture on these as well. I don't know if that's for Henschel or not. I don't think the superstructure there was that much difference. Some little fiddly parts. Shovel with its own clamp. The clamp doesn't look that great. There's the travel lock for the gun, and it's in 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. Some hatches. Not bad, but not. These are. You can tell the sprue is not necessarily state of the art. Now, what else do we have? We have some simple clear parts. So you have your probably driver's periscope, gunner's periscope, maybe commander's cupola. Look very clear. There's actually 4 of these periscopes on 2 small clear sprues. Those look nice. Here's a, by the way, very, very thin photo etch fret, consisting of the engine grills, a bunch of wing nuts here. My goodness, those are tiny. And I'm not sure what these are. Little circular piece there, perhaps some part of the travel lock. I'll be honest, I'm not sure. But look, this is a $60 model kit, guys. This is the kind of stuff that we talk about all the time in Dragon. There's nothing to protect this. It's not on a cardboard sleeve. There is no Dragon quote-unquote card in this kit. That's how it came. So not crazy about that. I mean, I'm happy for the photo etch, don't get me wrong, but not happy that it wasn't protected. Good looking braided metal tow cable. It's not copper, it's probably aluminum or steel, but I think it'll do nicely. Here you have a very basic decal sheet with some Balkenkreutzes and some generic numbers so you can number the vehicle however you want. And then last, and certainly not least, there's one more piece of photo etch, and this has got to be clamps. Yeah. This is clamps. There's the spade cover. It's very fiddly. I've never attempted the separate vehicle clasps. I think I can handle it. It's just I got to be really patient and really take my time. So, all right, that consists the parts of the kit, and I'll be right back. So guys, this concludes the look at the 1/35th scale Dragon Porsche Jagdtiger with Zimmerit. Overall, I think it's a good kit, not without its issues with the tracks. That's a big issue, because the aftermarket choice, guys, those free old tracks are not cheap. That's another $40. You end up spending $100 in a kit that's going to require a ton of work on the tracks. One of the reasons why I wanted to review this, I've been wanting to review this for some time, is because I do think it's a good kit, but I want people to know about the tracks up front. And I hope you use that as a purchasing decision on whether or not you think you want to delve into this. I will build this kit someday. Don't ask me when, but I will build it. But guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a great weekend, and everybody take care.